Hello everybody and welcome back to Critical Rocket with a new mech video. Yes, it's been a while, but we finally got it. We have the Clan 100 tonner Kodiak. Clan Ghost Bear's totem mech of the invasion period. This is currently the KDK-1 painted in beta galaxy colours. So I've gone with a nice dark blue with a very light blue and a white highlight where I could. I thought it came out quite nice, looks quite pretty. Well, as pretty as a 100 ton Clan assault mech can be that's got a stupid Care Bear head on it. Or as me and the bro like to joke, it's the sexual harassment panda of battlemechs. So, as you know, KDK-1, you're going to see some gameplay of this mech coming up in a bit, but I thought I'd change things up a little bit. First off, this video is just going to have a quick overview of the mechs in the lab and then just some gameplay of me. It's not winning like the old format. So basically the KDK-1, I've literally changed nothing in this, so if you've read it up on the website, that's what it's got. 8 ER mediums, Ultra AC20, 2 Streak 6, and a shitload of double heat sinks to handle the heat. No extra arms behind it, but it comes in 100 ton. Now the other two variants, the KDK2, this one is interesting because it's actually the jump capable version. But I don't know if the jump jets are really going to be worth it in the long run. Haven't really played around with this one much yet, but to be honest, yeah, it's probably the weakest of the three that come with the standard $20 pack. Now the KDK-3 is a bit more interesting. It's the ballistic boat version. I've already seen a 4 Gauss rifle version of this mech, so if it's possible. And yes, the stock loadout there is pretty straightforward, but I liked it. I played around and had a pretty good one. 6 tons of ammo and 40 ER mediums. Obviously you can mess around with the engine. This isn't an Omni-mech, this is a 2C variant, so you can dick around, you can put in a huge engine. You can actually go up to an XL 400, which is the max, and I think they all come with the XL 400 anyway, but you can drop the tonnage if you want to make room for more heat sinks and weapons and stuff, but you'd suffer with the speed. So yeah, we'll just get to the gameplay after this then. As I said, it'll be in the KDK-1, so highlight here, and we'll see you after the jump. And here we are. So, as I said, this is the KDK-1, and the video is, as I said, going to be a bit different. What I used to do in the past was use videos where I would post a victory and I had set very strict limitations on myself, which was I had to survive the match, I had to get at least 1 kill, and it had to be a win. And frankly, that used to drive me to fits of rage sometimes. So I thought, screw it, this time I'm taking the sexual harassment panda, and I'm just going to play a couple of matches, record what I get, and I think I got pretty decent footage. I've edited some of it down. This round not, but the second round it was quite long, so I took out the boring bits, or at least what I thought was boring anyway. So yeah, KDK-1, you saw the cockpit on the way down. It's a nice field of view. I quite like it, although it kind of reminds me, I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking like bicycle parts. I don't know why. Don't look further into that, I'm mental. But yeah, it doesn't really sort of jump out to me as being like a memorable cockpit, but it does the job. It's got that nice big square bit. I'm trying to show off there is the claws. You can see them just in the bottom left. I'm pointing at the fucking screen like you people can see. Yeah, the claws pop in and out if you press. Default key is backslash. Nice little feature. I quite like the fact that they decided to do that kind of Wolverine thing with it. It's totally visual. There's no other reason for it to be there. But yeah, it was a nice touch by the devs in the animation team, who, by the way, have done very, very good work again. When I did that third-person shot, I felt that the actual mech animated beautifully. I say this with pretty much all of them that they animate well, but this one I particularly like the way that the upper body tends to kind of rock left and right as the legs move. Looks really nice, and I also like the fact that as you're moving around, you can actually see the claws on both hands sort of swaying left and right with the mech's movement. It just adds that little bit to it, and it stops you from thinking about the fact that the mechs are all walking with their arms like at 90-degree angles, pointed directly forward, and it gives it that feel that the mech is kind of moving a bit more naturally. So if they could retroactively do that with some of the other mechs, that would be awesome. But yeah, the Kodiak is visually very, very good. Gameplay wise, reminds me a lot of playing an Atlas and an Awesome at the same time. Why do I say that? Well, it's an Atlas in so much as that it feels brickish. It's big, it it's got weight to it, heft. It definitely feels like you're piloting a big 100-ton mech like the Atlas, which I didn't really get with the Direwolf. It felt more like I was piloting the Warhawk a bit with bigger guns, but this one, I don't know, just kind of feels like it's a big fucking humanoid mech, which is cool. But it feels like an awesome because it's got a huge CT hitbox. It's ridiculously massive. The amount of Kodiaks that just get opened up almost immediately, it doesn't seem to matter where you shoot. Most of the damage seems to just transfer immediately to the CT. Now, I don't know whether that'll be hotfixed or whether that was the intention, but yeah, I've been finding that my Kodiaks tend to get opened up fairly quickly, and it's a very broad mech, so it's not really a surprise, but I don't know, maybe the CTs need a bit of tweaking. Now, the KDK-1 default build is very high energy. I believe it has 9 hard points from the get-go. So for those people who really want to get into their min-maxing customization, sky's the limit as far as energy stuff's concerned. I expect to see some pretty monstrously powerful builds coming out on this thing. Far in excess, I think, of what the Direwolf could ever produce with Clan Tech. I think this thing is definitely going to be a real threat to pretty much any other assault mech it comes up against. And heat-wise, it tends to handle it quite well. This round I was firing, the default weapon loadout is, weapon group 1 is the left-hand medium lasers, weapon group 2 is the right-hand lasers, then you've got group 3 I think is the AC-20, group 4 is the large, and group 5 is the streaks. I was all fingers and thumbs with this thing, trying to remember what keys to hit and stuff. So it didn't work out too well for me. It was probably the main reason I was so standoffish in this one, because I was still trying to get used to it, and I was testing out the heat, how often I could fire the quad mediums one after the other. And the good news is actually heat-wise handles it really well. Ghost heat doesn't really seem to affect it all that much. I don't know if that's quirks or not, because you know me, I never look at the quirks. And anyone who's new, who's going to sit there and go, guys, doesn't even know the quirks. Yes, because I run these things stock, so I never pay attention to the quirks, that's why. So yeah, I think it handles heat well, given, and I'm sure many people are going to kind of pare it back and go for the higher damage DPS weaponry, rather than sticking with what's on the mech from the get-go. I also found that, actually, even though obviously the arms were a majority of the lasers are kept, I didn't have that much trouble clipping buildings and the ground when firing with it, because it's quite a tall mech, which is good, very good. The Kodiak one, I believe, is the only other one that has missiles as well. Top of my head, I think that's right. Might be misremembering. The Kodiak 2 and 3. The 3 definitely doesn't. The 3 is your ballistic build. That one, as I said before in the mech bay, that thing can carry upwards of 4 Gauss rifles. I've seen it. It's terrifying. Luckily, it can only fire 2 at once. But still, kind of ridiculous as far as builds go. It's not an efficient build, so don't worry. It's not like that thing's going to suddenly take over the whole game with 4 Gauss rifle Kodiaks. But it's an example of the kind of thing you can produce. Now, this was the second round on Polar Highlands. I've edited this down viciously because there was a lot of hiding and peeking and looking up over the map. It was a really good round. There was someone in chat freaking out because, oh my god, they're behind you, they're following you. It's like, yeah, of course they're following us because we're following them. It just turned into Caustic Valley in a very small part of Polar. I felt I did alright with this one. I think by the end of it I had 2 kills. I think the first one was this Jenna, who just streaked him. Then I cut out a big section again where we were just wandering around. And yeah, then the fight sort of gets a bit more brutal at this point, with the 2 teams kind of getting closer and sort of wearing each other down. So I do like the fact that the Kodiak is a great support assault. It's not a front. You see, it's one of the things I've been trying to get across with assault mechs, is that even in BattleTech, they weren't really the tanks. They weren't the ones that went in first. That's your mediums and heavies, and your assaults. They were the guys who finished breaking through the line. They weren't the tip of the spear. These were the guys who just went in and cleaned up afterwards, scared the crap out of the infantry, and took on anybody who was dumb enough to stick around. And the Kodiak does a really, really good job in that role. Because it's so high heat, it's really good at being able to appear when you have full knowledge of the target, where its weak spots are, if it's been opened up, popping up and just opening up with like the AC-20 and the medium lasers and backing back down behind cover, and you just tear through mechs. The number of mechs that I opened up doing that, like looking for the weak spot in this match, and other matches I've played that I didn't record, but yeah, really, really, really good assault mech. Top speed, I believe, was 64 kph, which is actually quite fast. It's fast as some heavies by default, like the Warhammer and stuff, which is quite good. It's not surprising considering it comes with an XL400 now. Yeah, engine-wise, you can do a hell of a lot with that. You can drop the engine a lot, and you can stack in tons of ammo if you want to go heavy with the ballistics, or just extra heatsink so you can fire those weapons more. And yeah, it's a very, very versatile 100-tonner. Will it overtake the Direwolf? Will it overtake some of the other tried and true assaults like the Warhawk? I don't know. I think it's early days yet. I think once people get used to the builds and the different sort of loadouts that you can take with the different variants, it will, it'll come about. I would like to see this become more common because I think it's a better mech. It's certainly better in terms of customization because you're not suffering the Omni-mech downsides, which are obviously like fixed hardpoints like jump jets and engines and stuff. So it does have that advantage over the Daiichi. So yeah, could be worth keeping an eye on. If you haven't bought a pack already and you like your clan assault mechs, I don't think you'd be disappointed if you wanted or you were thinking of picking this up. It's if you like the Atlas, if you've ever played that, this is similar enough. I feel it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of similar to the default Atlas D anyway. It's two SRM6s that streak rather than a single one. It's an Ultra AC20 instead of a normal AC20, and it's got a boatload of extra mediums on top of, and a large laser to boot. So if you run it like an Atlas, or if you're used to running Atlases, this won't be that different for you actually. Better range, better damage, slightly higher heat. So the Kodiak drawbacks, it's mostly the CT. It's the hitboxes. I think maybe tweak them a little, not too much. Don't make it like ridiculously overpowered and just able to tank huge amounts of damage. But still, it's it could do with a tiny little bit of tweak. Maybe make the side torsos a little bit bigger and narrow the CT one a bit, just so you don't feel like you're getting popped quite so quickly. Oh, that was my second kill, by the way, there with the Warhawk in that round. And I think it'd be in a really nice position. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, the sexual harassment panda, the Care Bear. I've personally on tabletop I was never a fan of the original. Although I actually thinking about it, I think the head on the original wasn't quite as bad as this one. I think this one is a little. I don't know, something about it. What do you guys think? It seems a bit cute to me. Like that little head with those little ears. Oh, there's not around here. Just wanna pet it on this little metal head. That's what you want to do. Oh, it's just got a little bear. Just want to pet a little 100-ton bear in head. So yeah, it's all right, innit? Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up against Inner Sphere assaults. Of course, this will be seen in faction warfare, as it's called now. So we'll have to see how that develops. But overall, yeah, it's a good mech. Good assault mech. Well worth the purchase. If you've got the spare cash going. If not, it'll be out in, I believe, October, I think, for C-Bills. So thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!